How to sculpt short almond nails. In this video you'll see prep, laying down acrylic, how to put the forms on, and so much more. This is the first step, prep, which is the most important part, in my opinion, when it comes to retention. Retention is how long your nails are going to last. So what I like to use is a sanding band. This sanding band is a 240 grit from Kiara Sky. No, I'm not affiliated. I just love to share all of the products that I use and never gatekeep. This is the small barrel, which I prefer to use because it gets into every little corner of the nail. Ensures that you'll remove all of that dead skin, eponychium, and cuticle from the natural nail. I like to roughen up the surface, but with light feathering motions. I always use the barrel to remove everything first. I don't push back the cuticles or the eponychium, but just because this was something that I found over the years that helped save time. Knowing the anatomy of the nail is essential to creating your own tips and tricks that are both safe and time effective. The best way to identify dead versus alive, which what I mean is blood flow versus no blood flow. Always check the color of the skin. If the skin around the nail is a paler color than the rest of the finger, that usually means it's the eponychium, dead skin, or cuticle, and that can be removed safely. If you're still unsure, that's completely fine. Just use a cuticle pusher and push back the cuticles and eponychium before this step. The main focus is removing all that cuticle from the natural nail bed, just making sure there's no dead skin left over. This helps prevent lifting. Another thing I want to stress is not to put so much pressure on the natural nail bed. This will cause ring of fire, which is created by too much pressure using your drill bit. You do not need a lot of pressure when you are doing this step. Now you can see all of that extra skin we can remove. I am showing you the nipper that I'm using is from PLA, which I am actually obsessed with. PLA polishes are amazing as well as their nippers. As you can see here, it's very easy to nip away all of that dead skin, extra skin, eponychium, cuticle, all the different names people tend to say, but basically this extra skin that we are currently nipping. PLA nippers do an amazing job. So if there's ever a time that you see me using something you would love to get your hands on, just comment in the comment section. If you see me using something on Instagram or TikTok, don't be scared to message me there as well. You can either direct message or comment on that video. But yeah, back to the video. As you can see here, I am always putting pressure on the part that I'm going to cut before cutting to ensure that I'm not going to clip my client. I will say filming this video was giving me so much anxiety, but so exciting. The camera being in my face is something that I forgot the feeling and being able to work around it is the next level skill set that I have to rediscover. And as this video goes on, you will hear my voice kind of awaken because it is currently 7:44 and I am still editing this video. I did take a little break talking with my little sister, so that was very nice. And I don't remember if I said this, but I started editing this video maybe 5:30 a.m. So yeah, it's been about 3 hours just editing. Fun fact, this is the part that I enjoy the most. Aside from laying down the acrylic, this is the most satisfying thing. Seeing a before and after from pre-cut cuticles to cut cuticles, it's like mannequin hands. So beautiful. As you can see, I do swipe away any dust or debris to check to see if there's anything else I need to cut. But if you're not wearing gloves, do not do this part, or you will get your oils of your fingertips onto the natural nail, which this part is essential for taking off their natural nail oils so that the acrylic can adhere to the nail bed. Just think of it as oil being a repellent for retention, something that doesn't go together. primer. I put Swipe from Young Nails on a brush and brush away any of that dust and debris, and then I go in with my Young Nails primer, and I do paint it on as if it were nail polish, making sure that each part of that nail surface is covered with a primer. Dehydrating and priming your nails is essential for retention. You're going to keep hearing that because everything that you do in this prep stage is essential for your retention. You will notice that my primer is running out, so I keep tilting it to get all of that primer from the bottom of the bottle. I'm running low, guys, but this is too good to toss. There's still some left. If you know, you know. Just remember when you're applying the primer not to flood the cuticle area, because that could also cause lifting. Over priming is a thing. And before primer, you dehydrate. Always remember to dehydrate the nail. That is what I did with the brush. When I was brushing away all of the dust and debris, I was also dehydrating the nail with Swipe. But after this step, you are all complete with prep. Now we're going to move on to forms. I prefer forms over tips, but I can do a tips video for you guys if you would like. Forms for me are just much easier and have full adhesion to the nail, so they tend to last a bit longer. For me, I say for me because everyone is different. Some people work better with tips and others work better with forms. If this is your first time, it's a perfect video to watch because I also was struggling with putting this one on. It can be a little tricky to wiggle, but as long as you get it flat to the nail, you'll be fine. It is a lot easier to do forms when your client has a free edge. In this case, my client had a very long free edge, which later on realized I didn't have to put forms on all of them. You should ask your client before putting on all of the forms what length they would like, because if they're long, their nails are long, then you may not even need to use the form. Like this one, you can see the nail touches the number 1, which is the length that she wanted, and she told me later on after I put all of them on. So I did end up wasting a lot of forms doing this, and time. It could have been a big time saver if I had asked from the beginning. The forms I am using are from Amazon. I have them on my Amazon storefront. If you go to my Instagram, the link will be in my bio. They're very easy to use. I will be posting a video solely talking about forms and how to use them, what's the easiest technique, and the tips and tricks that I have learned over the years. Until then, the main thing is to make sure you secure the form underneath the free edge flush to the natural nail, meaning nice and straight. If you see here, you can tell I am trying to align the form with the natural nail. Once I do that, I secure underneath the nail tight. I hold on to the wings to the finger to make sure that the form stays straight. Next, I'll be using Valentino's acrylic powder in the shade Prettiest Pink and Young Nails Monomer. I will show you later on how to do liquid to powder ratio in another video, so just stay tuned for that. Until then, just keep an eye for when I dip my brush into the monomer and the powder. You'll also notice that I don't do it by beads. I just do it by how much I need. Sometimes I do it in one bead, the next I do it in a few beads. It doesn't really matter to me as long as you have good structure on the nail. Speaking of structure, you need an apex. An apex is what you'll see when you turn the nail to the side. It'll be a slightly thicker part of the nail. Where you want to place the apex will be based on the pressure point of that client or person's nail. The way that you can find it is by pressing down at the tip of the nail and seeing which part turns whiter. You can kind of see it here on this nail where it's a little bit lighter than the rest of the pink on her natural nail. I like to basically create a thicker area for that spot, putting more product there and making sure that it stays there even through filing. When sculpting acrylic, definitely need drier beads versus runnier. You never want to work with a runny bead because it will run all the way down to the sidewalls or even run off of the form. When you have a slightly drier bead, you're able to work with it more and mold it like it's Play-Doh. Weird example, but very applicable when talking about sculpting acrylic nails. If you enjoy watching application videos, you should definitely check out my Instagram and TikTok. They have several different application videos of acrylic nails. Alright, I'm tired of talking now, so I'm just gonna let you listen to the music and enjoy this application process. What I'm doing here is basically a acrylic overlay. This part is pretty easy because all you have to do is prep and then lay the acrylic and then continue on from there. There's no tips or forms needed. I personally love overlays over anything because not only is it easy, but it also shows that your client's nails are extremely healthy. If you are or have been one of my clients, you already know that natural nail health is very important to me. Not just the nail enhancement we do, but making sure none of the products I use are damaging to your natural nails, or any of the motions that I perform is damaging or too rough. It's not only important to have a beautiful outcome, but to also think about the longevity of what's going on underneath your nail enhancements. When I say longevity, I mean the natural nail health in the future, not just the nail enhancement at the now point. The next step is going to be filing. I'm going to be using a hand file first, but I am showing you the drill bit I will be using next. It is a fine drill bit from Pana on Amazon, also linked in my Amazon storefront, but right now I am using a hand file from 4Pro, 100 out of 180 grit. I am using the 180 grit side just to ensure I am not tugging at the freshly laid acrylic. When filing the freshly laid acrylic, you always want to use a fine or medium grit hand file. A coarse grit hand file should only be used when trying to debulk or soak off a acrylic or gel set. Never use a coarse grit hand file on your natural nails. I actually don't normally file the shape before drilling, but today for some reason I did. I blame the camera. Pro tip: if you do not enjoy filing, make sure you create the shape when you're doing your forms as close as possible to the shape that you desire. Now we move on to sealing our cuticles and smoothing out the surface. I like to seal the cuticle first, and then I file downward to get that initial file, and then I'll move sidewall to sidewall. When using a drill, you want to make sure you're not applying too much pressure to the nail. Always light feathering motions when it comes to filing. This is only to create a sealed application so no lifting occurs, as well as a smooth surface, not debulking or removing. And remember, I am using a fine drill bit from Pana on Amazon. You can find it linked in my Amazon storefront if you would like to purchase. This is my go-to drill bit when sealing the cuticle and smoothing out the surface. If you do purchase this drill bit, just remember, season the tip of the drill bit with a hand file. If you're not too familiar of what seasoning means, it means to basically dull out the edges so that they are not sharp and do not cause any pain to your client. This part was another unnecessary part that I just did because sometimes I become a perfectionist and I do always file after I drill. So that's what I was saying earlier when I didn't know why I was filing, but it's okay. We're just gonna go with it. Now that all of the filing is done and complete, I take swipe on this brush again and just wipe away any dust and debris from the nail and the cuticle area. It is finally time for the fun part, the gel polish and design. I'm using this shade 1138 from the GAOY Magnetic Gel Polish. I got this from Amazon. It came in a pack, and it's also on my Amazon storefront. It did come with this magnet tool, so that was very nice. And I was struggling, I'm not gonna lie, to create this look when it came with this magnetic gel, just because it was my first time using it and I had to figure it out. I finally did figure it out, and it did turn out super beautiful. You just have to play with it a little bit to get the design that you desire. When using magnetic gel polish, remember to use the magnet prior to curing the nail for the design. If you cure before using the magnet, it will not move for you because once you cure it, it sets in place. Now I'm going in with my PLA top coat. This is a gel polish as well. You always want to use gel and gel together. Never use a regular polish unless it is fully dry, like bone dry, maybe 24 hours later dry. But even then I wouldn't recommend. Lastly, she did want to add a little cute bow for her accent nail, so we're using a Macart rhinestone glue. This is a gel glue, so you need a lamp to cure it. But I'm placing the charm right in the middle of the generous amount I put, just to ensure that this charm is not going anywhere. You can tell here that this charm is a bit heavy, so what I do once I place it, I have my client lay her hand completely flat and make sure she knows to keep it that way when placing her hand in the lamp to ensure it will not move. One thing to note is that I did not cure the top coat yet. For this specific reason, I knew that these charms are a bit heavy, so I gave myself some wiggle room to be able to manipulate the placement easier without having any extra gel around the nail. Here you see me just smoothing out the rest of the top coat that was misplaced. Not only to ensure this charm isn't going anywhere, but to also ensure this charm won't get stuck in the client's hair, I always go in again and add a little bit more of the rhinestone glue to the side walls of the charm. And taking a French brush, I dip it in acetone just to remove any excess gel that might have gotten on the skin and to flatten out any harsh lines. Lastly, you apply cuticle oil to the cuticles to regain moisture after all of that dehydrator. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was able to help you in any way, shape, or form. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so you can see me in the next video. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you.